You know that feeling when you really need to ask something important, but you just freeze? You're worried about how it'll sound. Well, we've all been there. Today, we're going to break down the art of asking questions. And trust me, it's a skill that can totally change how you learn, how you work, and how you connect with people.
Yeah, it's that classic moment, right? You need to know something, but you hesitate because you're worried about coming across as too direct, or maybe even a little impolite. The great news is, there's some really simple tricks to make your questions clear, respectful, and way more likely to get you the answer you need. And this right here is the big secret. Seriously, it's not about avoiding questions. Of course not. It's all about learning how to frame them. The way you phrase your question can be the difference between an awkward moment and a really helpful conversation. And it all starts with one key ingredient. And that secret ingredient? It's politeness. Especially when you're speaking English, being too direct can sometimes sound a little, well, demanding. But just a few simple words can completely soften your question and make someone much more willing to help you out. Let's see exactly what that looks like. Just look at this and feel the difference. Your name? It feels like an order, doesn't it? It's so abrupt. But then you have, could I know your name, please? It's a world of difference. That one little word, could, completely transforms the tone. Words like could, may, or would, these are your secret weapons for adding respect and making your question feel way less intrusive.
Okay, so theory is great, but let's get practical. How does this actually work when we're asking about people? This is something we do all the time, right? Whether we're meeting someone for the first time or just making a quick phone call.
Okay, check out this super clever technique. Notice how the speaker doesn't ask, "Are you Captain Haggard?" which can feel a little bit like an interrogation. Instead, they make a polite guess. You must be Captain Haggard. It's just softer. It takes all the pressure off and invites the other person to just agree. It turns a question into a friendly confirmation.
And you know, this stuff gets even more critical when we're on the phone. Think about it. There's no body language, no facial expressions to help you out. Your words have to do all the heavy lifting. So being clear and polite isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential to make sure there are no misunderstandings. So let's stock up our toolkit with some super useful telephone phrases. When you answer, just state your name. When you're making a call, lead with a polite, "May I?" And if you need to know who's calling, "May I know who I am speaking to?" is the perfect, professional way to ask. These little habits make every single call go so much smoother.
And hey, just as important as knowing what to do is knowing what not to do, right? So, a few things to avoid. Always say who you are. Please don't speak with food in your mouth. Make sure you're speaking clearly and just be aware of your volume, especially if you're in a public place. It's all about showing respect for the person on the other end.
Okay, let's move on to some situations that can feel a bit more delicate. Things like expressing sympathy or just trying to make small talk with new people. These moments need a special kind of gentleness in how we ask things.
You know, when someone is going through a tough time, the most important thing is to just show you care. Your goal is to offer comfort, not to satisfy your own curiosity. Asking direct questions can feel really intrusive. Instead, you want to create a safe space for them to share, but only if they want to.
Look at this phrase. It's not a question at all, is it? It's a statement of sympathy. It doesn't ask what happened. It simply shows that you're aware of the situation and that you're thinking of them. A statement like this opens the door for them to talk more, but it doesn't pressure them at all. That's the key. All right, on a much lighter note, let's talk about small talk. Say you're at a social event. You can ask a question without even forming a full sentence. Just by saying a short phrase like, "Kids in school?" with your voice going up at the end, it becomes a friendly, informal question. It's way more casual and relaxed than a formal, "Do you have children who are in school?"
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about those really practical moments, like when you need to ask for help with a service or you need someone to explain a set of instructions.
These phrases right here are like magic keys. Instead of just demanding, "What do I do?" try starting with, "I was wondering if you could help me," or "Could you tell me?" These openers immediately set a positive, respectful tone and make the other person much more likely to want to help you out.
So what about when you need someone to walk you through a process step by step? How do you do that without feeling like you're interrupting or asking silly questions? The best way is to just ask simple, clarifying questions as you go. Let's see an example.
So imagine someone is explaining this process to you. At every single step, you have a perfect opportunity to ask a quick question. After step 1, you could ask, "So what kind of gravel is best?" After step 2, why charcoal? Asking these small questions is the absolute best way to understand any new process. It breaks it down into manageable little pieces.
So we've talked a ton about asking questions, but you know what's just as important? The other half of the conversation, actually listening carefully to the answers. Good communication is always a two-way street.
Sometimes, the reason we don't understand is because of something called a slip of the ear. This is basically when our brain mishears or misinterprets the sounds we're hearing, especially when people talk fast or words blend together.
This is a perfect and kind of funny example. A person says, "My friend's Shanti," but what you hear is, "My French auntie." Can you hear how similar those sounds are? The brain just makes a quick guess, and sometimes it gets it wrong. It just goes to show how easy it is to mishear things.
So, how do we get better at listening? The good news is, you don't have to do anything drastic. The key is to practice, but without any pressure. Just start by listening to short, clear things like news headlines or weather reports. And please, don't stress about understanding every single word. Just focus on the main idea. A little bit of practice every day works wonders.
Whew, okay. We have covered a lot today. So let's just pull everything together into a quick summary. Think of it as your personal toolkit for asking great questions.
Just keep these 4 main things in mind. First, always use those magic polite words: could, may, would. Second, remember to change your style depending on the situation. Third, when you're learning something new, don't be afraid to ask small questions along the way. And finally, never, ever forget that listening is just as important as asking.
And really, it all comes down to this one simple idea. When you master the art of asking questions, you're doing so much more than just being polite. You are opening doors, you're making it easier to get the help you need and to build better connections with people. Because it's true, great questions really do get great answers. For more clear explanations and daily IGNOU videos, subscribe to IGNOU Mind Decoded.